5 life-changing morning words to rewire your mind. Stoic motivation daily. 1. Courage. Have you ever noticed how fear often appears before something important is about to happen? Fear shows up before a difficult conversation, before a major decision, before a new opportunity, and before any meaningful change in life. Most people interpret fear as a warning sign telling them to stop. The Stoics interpreted it differently. They believed fear was often a signal that growth was near. That is why the first life-changing morning word is courage. When you wake up each morning, you have a choice. You can allow fear to decide what kind of day you will have, or you can decide that fear will no longer control your actions. Courage is not about pretending that fear does not exist. Courage is recognizing fear and moving forward anyway. Marcus Aurelius faced enormous responsibilities, political conflicts, wars, and personal hardships. Yet he reminded himself daily that challenges were part of life, and that avoiding them would only weaken his character. Think about the dreams you have postponed because they seemed difficult. Think about the opportunities you have ignored because you were afraid of failure. Think about the goals that remain unfinished because you doubted yourself. Fear has a way of convincing us that staying where we are is safer than moving forward. But the truth is that growth never happens inside a comfort zone. Every achievement begins with someone deciding to act despite uncertainty. Many people spend years waiting to feel confident before taking action. They tell themselves they will start when they feel ready. The Stoics understood that readiness is often created through action, not before it. Confidence grows after you take the first step, not before. The person who starts despite fear gains experience. The person who waits for fear to disappear often remains stuck. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a new opportunity. They can see the possibility of success, but they can also imagine the possibility of failure. Their mind fills with questions. What if it doesn't work? What if people judge me? What if I make mistakes? These thoughts are natural, but courage teaches us that these questions should not determine our decisions. Instead of asking what might go wrong, courage asks what might be possible if you try. The Stoics believed that obstacles were not interruptions to life. They were opportunities to practice virtue. Every difficult situation is a chance to strengthen your patience, resilience, wisdom, and courage. The challenge that seems frustrating today may become the very experience that shapes your future strength. What feels like an obstacle may actually be preparing you for greater responsibilities ahead. When you repeat the word courage each morning, you are giving your mind a powerful instruction. You are telling yourself that fear will not have the final say. You are reminding yourself that challenges are opportunities for growth rather than reasons to retreat. You are training your mind to focus on action instead of hesitation. Consider how different your life could become if you consistently acted with courage. How many opportunities would you pursue? How many goals would you achieve? How many limitations would disappear? Courage has the power to transform every area of life because it removes the barriers created by fear. It allows you to take risks, learn from failures, and continue moving forward regardless of the outcome. One of the greatest lessons from Stoicism is that we cannot control external events, but we can control our response to them. Courage is choosing a strong response even when circumstances are uncertain. It is choosing faith in your ability to adapt rather than fear of what might happen. It is choosing growth over comfort and action over excuses. As you begin each day, carry the word courage with you. Let it remind you that every great accomplishment started with someone willing to face uncertainty. Let it remind you that your fears do not define you. Your actions do. And every time you choose courage, you become stronger than you were the day before. 2. Discipline. If courage helps you begin the journey, discipline helps you continue when the journey becomes difficult. Many people start with excitement and enthusiasm. They set goals, make plans, and promise themselves that this time things will be different. But after a few days or weeks, motivation fades. The excitement disappears, and old habits begin to return. This is where discipline becomes essential. The Stoics understood something that modern society often forgets. Success is rarely the result of motivation alone. Success is the result of consistent action repeated over time. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions change. Discipline is a decision, and decisions can remain firm regardless of how you feel. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that he had a responsibility to fulfill his duties, whether he felt like doing them or not. He knew that waiting for the perfect mood was a recipe for wasted potential. Every morning, he chose action over excuses. That mindset helped him lead one of the most powerful empires in history while maintaining his commitment to Stoic principles. When you wake up and repeat the word discipline, you are reminding yourself that your future depends on today's actions. Every choice matters. Every habit matters. Every decision either moves you closer to your goals or farther away from them. The small actions you take each day may seem insignificant, but over time they create extraordinary results. Imagine two people with the same goals. One acts only when they feel motivated. The other acts regardless of how they feel. At first, their progress may look similar. But as weeks turn into months and months turn into years, the difference becomes enormous. The disciplined person continues moving forward while the other repeatedly starts and stops. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about consistency. There will be days when you feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. There will be moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. Discipline means choosing to keep going anyway. It means understanding that temporary discomfort is often the price of long-term success. The Stoics believe that self-mastery is one of the highest achievements a person can attain. A person who cannot control their impulses becomes a servant to their emotions. A person who develops discipline gains freedom. They are no longer controlled by laziness, procrastination, or momentary desires. Instead, they direct their actions according to their values and goals. Think about the areas of your life where discipline could create positive change. Maybe it is your health. Maybe it is your finances. Maybe it is your personal development. Whatever the area, improvement begins with small, consistent actions. You do not need to change everything overnight. You only need to commit to daily progress. Every morning offers a new opportunity to strengthen your discipline. Every task completed despite resistance makes your mind stronger. Every promise you keep to yourself builds self-respect. Every act of consistency reinforces the belief that you are capable of achieving your goals. As you move through your day, remember this powerful word: discipline. Let it guide your choices when motivation fades. Let it remind you that success belongs to those who continue when others stop. And most importantly, let it remind you that the life you desire is built one disciplined action at a time. 3. Gratitude, the hidden source of happiness and inner wealth. There was once a king who possessed everything a person could desire. His palace stretched across miles of land. His treasury overflowed with gold. Servants obeyed his every command. People traveled from distant nations just to admire his wealth and power. Yet despite having everything, the king was miserable. Every morning he woke up anxious. Every evening he went to sleep dissatisfied. No achievement felt large enough. No victory felt meaningful for long. Whenever he gained something new, his happiness lasted only a few days before another desire took its place. One day, while disguised as an ordinary traveler, he encountered an elderly philosopher sitting beneath a tree. The king asked, "Why am I unhappy when I have more than most people could ever dream of?" The philosopher smiled and pointed toward a nearby village. "Come with me." As they walked, they arrived at a small house. Inside lived a poor farmer, his wife, and their children. Their home was simple. Their possessions were few. Yet laughter filled every room. The king watched in confusion. "How can they be happy with so little?" he asked. The philosopher replied, "Because they appreciate what they have instead of obsessing over what they lack." The king stood silently. For years he had focused only on what was missing. He never appreciated what was already present. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. Gratitude is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about recognizing that even in difficult seasons, there is still something valuable to appreciate. Every morning, repeat the word gratitude. Be grateful for another sunrise. Be grateful for another chance to improve. Be grateful for the lessons hidden within challenges. Be grateful for the strength you have already developed. Most people postpone gratitude. They tell themselves they will appreciate life after they achieve success, earn more money, or solve all their problems. But life does not work that way. The person who cannot appreciate a little will never be satisfied with a lot. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that every day was a gift. He understood that life itself was temporary. Because of this awareness, he learned to value ordinary moments. A conversation with a loved one. A peaceful morning. A lesson learned through hardship. A chance to begin again. These moments often appear small while they are happening. Yet years later they become some of our most treasured memories. Gratitude changes how you see the world. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What can this teach me?" Instead of focusing on scarcity, you begin noticing abundance. Instead of constantly chasing happiness, you begin experiencing it. The grateful person understands something the unhappy person does not. Joy is often found in appreciation rather than possession. When gratitude becomes part of your morning routine, your entire perspective begins to shift. The world looks different. Challenges look different. Even your future looks different. Because gratitude allows you to see blessings that were always there but previously unnoticed. 4. Courage, the decision that changes everything. Many years ago, there was a young warrior preparing for the most important battle of his life. The night before the battle, fear consumed him. His mind imagined failure. His mind imagined embarrassment. His mind imagined defeat. Every possible disaster seemed certain. Unable to sleep, he wandered outside and found an older warrior staring at the stars. The young man confessed, "I am terrified." The older warrior nodded. "So was I." The young warrior looked surprised. "You?" he asked. "Every battle." The older warrior smiled. Then he said something that would remain with the young man forever. "Bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is deciding that something matters more than fear." That lesson reflects one of the greatest principles of Stoicism. Fear is natural. Fear is human. Fear is unavoidable. But surrendering to fear is a choice. Every meaningful achievement in history required courage. Every inventor faced uncertainty. Every leader faced criticism. Every successful person faced moments when quitting seemed easier. Yet they moved forward anyway. Most people spend their lives waiting for confidence to arrive. The Stoics understood that confidence comes after action, not before it. You become confident by doing difficult things. You become courageous by facing fears repeatedly. You become strong by carrying burdens that once felt impossible. Every morning, repeat the word courage. When fear tells you not to try, choose courage. When fear tells you to stay silent, choose courage. When fear tells you to remain comfortable, choose courage. Growth always lives on the other side of discomfort. The reason many people remain stuck is not because they lack talent. It is because fear has convinced them to stay where they are. Think about the opportunities fear has stolen from people. Businesses never started. Dreams never pursued. Relationships never repaired. Potential never realized. Not because success was impossible, but because fear appeared larger than possibility. The Stoics believed courage was one of the highest virtues because courage allows every other virtue to exist. Without courage, wisdom remains unused. Without courage, discipline disappears. Without courage, purpose remains a dream. Your future is shaped by the courageous decisions you make today. One brave conversation. One brave step. One brave decision. Those moments often change the entire direction of a person's life. And it all begins by choosing courage when fear expects surrender. 5. Purpose, the reason you keep moving forward. An old philosopher once sat beside a river watching the water flow endlessly toward the ocean. A young traveler approached and asked him a question. "What is the meaning of life?" The philosopher did not answer immediately. Instead, he pointed toward the river. "What do you see?" The traveler replied. "Water moving." The philosopher smiled. "And why does it keep moving?" The traveler thought for a moment. Because it has somewhere to go. The philosopher nodded. Exactly. Then he added, a river without direction becomes a swamp. A person without purpose becomes lost. Those words contain one of the deepest truths in Stoicism. Many people spend years moving without direction. They stay busy but feel empty. They work hard but feel unfulfilled. They achieve goals but still feel incomplete. The problem is not effort. The problem is the absence of purpose. Purpose gives meaning to sacrifice. Purpose gives direction to action. Purpose gives strength during difficult seasons. When you know why you are doing something, you can endure almost any challenge. Viktor Frankl once observed that people who found meaning in suffering were often able to survive circumstances that seemed impossible. Purpose creates resilience. Purpose creates endurance. Purpose creates hope. Every morning, repeat the word purpose. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? What kind of life am I building? What impact do I want to leave behind? Purpose is not necessarily about changing the entire world. Sometimes purpose means becoming an excellent parent. Sometimes it means serving your community. Sometimes it means mastering your craft. Sometimes it means helping one person who desperately needs guidance. The Stoics believe that every human being has a role to play. Your responsibility is not to be everyone else. Your responsibility is to become the best version of yourself. A person with purpose approaches obstacles differently. They do not see difficulties as reasons to quit. They see difficulties as part of the journey. Because they understand that meaningful goals require meaningful effort. Purpose turns ordinary mornings into opportunities. Purpose transforms setbacks into lessons. Purpose gives value to every step forward. When your purpose is clear, distractions lose their power. Other people's opinions lose their power. Temporary failures lose their power. Because you know where you are going. And once you know where you are going, you become far more difficult to stop. If you enjoyed this Stoic lesson, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more daily Stoic motivation, wisdom, and life-changing lessons. Join our community of people committed to building discipline, courage, purpose, and inner peace through the timeless teachings of Stoicism.